So just want to go over a few things today. Mindset, overcoming objections, and transitioning into the application. First thing here is just kind of some big picture slash mindset issues. So this is really something I wish someone would have just sat me down when I first started in life insurance and just kind of given me kind of the lay of the land. I kind of got stuck in the minutia of products and carriers and this and that. And so this may be encouraging or discouraging, depending on how you look at it, but I thought we'd do a little big picture. So if you think about it, our job is, let me admit people here, admit all. Come on in, admit all. There we go. So if you think about it, our job here is simple. Like many things in life, it's simple, but not easy. Okay, so why do I say it's simple? Because in one sense, if you think about it, all we really do is find the client's need, match them with the best solution, essentially fill out a form, an application, get them approved, and then make sure they keep their policy. Okay, so it's very simple. So if it's that easy, why isn't everybody doing it? Well, that's because our clients, of course, they have low trust, low budget, generally speaking, poor communication and critical thinking skills. Many of them have very little patience to no patience. They're disorganized. Their lives are chaotic. On top of that, of course, they have unrealistic expectations. So if they see something on an advertisement, $1 a day for $50,000 in coverage, they call in expecting that, or they pretend to expect that. So unrealistic expectations. And then, they have an inability to use technology. They're getting better with the text messages and that type of thing. But generally speaking, it's a chore to do any type of email or text. And then on top of that, of course, they're all professional procrastinators. Okay, so that's why it's not easy. So our job is simple, but not easy. And in one sense, if you think about it, we're professional communicators trying to help professional procrastinators. Okay. And that's where the tension comes. Okay. The product is simple. The process is simple, but we are professional communicators. You could say professional persuaders, professional helpers, professional problem solvers, whatever you'd like to call us, but we're trying to help professional procrastinators. And that is the problem. So, which leads me to one of my core business principles here. Don't let crazy people make you crazy. Okay. Don't let crazy people make you crazy. It should be a title of a book. Do what you can and move on. So do what you can and move on. Don't let crazy people make you crazy. So because of those issues, keep admitting people here. Sorry. So because of that, this business can be brutal. Okay. So I always try to make that clear, especially to new agents. The business can be absolutely brutal because of those realities. Okay. You've heard the statistics, 92% of new life insurance agents fail within the first year. 8% succeed. Okay. So there's some encouragement for your Thursday morning, especially if you're new. But that's what they say. Who knows who did that study or wherever, but I believe it because it's a rough business. It's tough to do. It's a roller coaster. Okay. So it's a roller coaster. You're starting off, things are going well. You're getting licensed. You're learning how it all works. You're having a good time. You're making a few sales, and then boom, chargebacks come. Like, wait a second, I made that sale, but now you're saying I have to pay that money back. It's a chargeback. I didn't know this was coming. And so maybe you had a great week, a great month, and then 3-4 people call on the same day, and they have to cancel. So it becomes a downward ride on the roller coaster, and then you're just holding on to your life. Something else unexpected comes up. The roller coaster continues, and then you have another good month, a good week. You make sales again. Things are looking up. You're having fun. And then another twist, another turn comes, something you did not expect at all. And then you slowly learn through the ups and downs of this business. So this business is a roller coaster. So the question is, well, what can you control? Do you really ultimately have control of the results? I mean, yesterday when Irma from Wisconsin calls me and says, "Oh, hi, Benjamin. I'm sorry. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I've been having an illness. I need you to cancel my policy. Irma missed her payment last month. I probably made 40 attempts to reach her to make a new payment to keep her from losing her policy. And here she calls me finally and says, I need you to cancel my policy. My daughter bought me a policy last week, so I need to cancel my policy." Like, but Irma, we've been working on this for like 2 months. You really want to cancel your policy? Can I talk with your daughter? No, I just need you to cancel. Okay. So did I have control over that situation? No. So the only thing you have control over is your attitude and your activity. You really don't have control over your results, which is the frustrating part if you like to be in control, but that's the reality. So what I always ask myself is, well, if 92% of agents fail, what do the 8% do that the 92% don't? Okay. So other than waking up at 3 a.m., taking a cold shower, and attending expensive wealth conferences, what do the 8% do that the 92% do not? And so I share this simple graphic on my RSD team frequently. Many different ways you could say, what it takes to be successful. But if you boil it down, I think at the top, you've got to have a positive and relentless attitude. And then you've got to have consistent activity and effort. You can't start and stop. You got to be consistent. If it's in the TVQ, you can't jump in and take 3 leads and expect to be successful. You got to have a consistent presence in there. And positive attitude, obviously, it's a mental game. So those are the two at the top you need to have. And then below that, it's communication. You got to have the right approach and tone. If you're unmuted, please mute yourself. I hear some unmuted sound here. Communication, have the right approach and tone, the right scripting, knowing when to pause, when to give silence, when to be more confrontational, etc. So right communication, you got to have the product knowledge, obviously, of what you're actually selling, what you're helping people with. But less is more. Focus on a few, have your core carrier or core carriers. Don't try to sell everybody. And then lastly, the technical. So you got to know how to complete an application. You got to know how to get it submitted. You got to deal with the crazy back-end procedures from each carrier. So you got to kind of know the technical part, especially, on keeping policies in place when you have missed payments. But that's kind of big picture, what I think of in terms of what it takes to be successful, in terms of what the 8%, those who make it past the first year, do. Okay. So that's kind of big picture. And again, if you're not unmuted, please mute yourself. So what are we dealing with on a daily basis that makes this job difficult? It's objections, right? So that's what we're dealing with on every phone call, every day. It's overcoming objections. And what are the four main objections that we get on a regular basis? It's number one, I need to think about it. Need to think about it. Doesn't tell us anything, but they need to think about it. I need to talk with my wife, my daughter, my spouse, my mailman, my second cousin who's in from, or who will be here next week from Georgia. They always have to talk with somebody. Or I want to shop around. Well, who do you want to shop around with? I have no idea, but I need to shop around. Or most of them boil down to I can't afford it. Okay, so I got a $1,200 Social Security check and my disability check on the 3rd, and I can't afford it. I can't even afford to pay, to pay my rent. I had to move last month because they raised my rent $200, and so now I'm living in a different apartment. That's a legitimate need. Most of the time, it's not legitimate. But those are kind of the 4 common objections. So first, big picture on objections. First, objections are primarily overcome before they come up. Okay, so objections are primarily overcome before they come up. If you wait until they come up, 99% of the time, there is no magic one-liner that will convince someone to change course. Okay, so every once in a while, you have one of those Jedi mind trick moments where it feels really good, where you come back with a one-liner and you turn them around, and that's great. You will take me to Java. I will take you to Java. It feels good, but ordinarily on every normal call, that's not going to happen. So it's good to have those kind of one-liners, and we'll go through some of those that are helpful to have. But the bulk of the work is done in the core of the presentation. So because of that, trust your script process. Trust your script process. Every section is there for a reason. Okay. If you're brand new, follow it word for word, role play it, memorize it, understand, more importantly, understand the purpose behind each section. So conceptually, you have to understand what you're trying to accomplish. So address those objections preemptively. How do you do that? Well, you build trust in who you are. Okay, build trust in who you are. Know why they want it, why they want this final expense life insurance or this burial insurance or whatever they refer to it as. And then also know their experience with life insurance. I've been focusing on that. I was overlooking that big time. So I've really been trying to focus on knowing the caller's experience with life insurance before going any further. So one general principle to success is disarm them to keep them engaged. So at any critical point when you're talking with someone, if you want to lead them across the finish line, you have to disarm them at those critical points where they're expecting you to say something, you say something else. Okay. That's how you keep them on track and keep them from tuning out. So for instance, here's just a practical example as it relates to prior insurance experience. So here, as it relates to prior insurance experience, I'll say, great. So yeah, let me give you a quick overview of who we are so you understand how we can help. That's a great line in the new script. I love that. Give me a quick overview of who we are, not just so I can tell you about myself, but so you can understand how we can help. Okay. So I'll say again, my name is Benjamin Euler, and I'm a licensed life insurance advisor in the state of Kentucky. I personally help over 600 people each year secure affordable life insurance coverage to protect their families. And then I threw this in here to kind of disarm them because I want to know where they're coming from earlier on, even than in the script. I say, now have you called in anywhere before, either recently or a while back, about life insurance? And that disrupts the flow a little bit because I felt like I was talking too much. And from there, they're kind of set back and they have to answer you. They have to say, yeah, I've been calling around 6 places. I can't get anything affordable. Okay. And if they say that, then boom, now you know your main objection. It's affordability. So you're going to be battling with pricing with this person primarily. Or if they say, no, I've never called around. I don't know anything about life insurance. Well, now you know you have to take you need to educate them, a slower approach. You need to educate. Okay. So just little things like that, it can isolate what their objections are going to be in advance. And then also the next paragraph here makes a lot more sense in the context of what they just said. Well, what makes us different is that unlike companies such as Colonial Penn or Globe Life or AARP, we don't offer just one insurance carrier. We offer plans from over 20 of the top life insurance companies in the country to ensure that we always make the best recommendation for your specific needs. And all from A-rated companies like Mutual of Omaha, American,
just 2 directions from
Gerber, just to name a few.
Salem.
Give me just a second here. I gotta close my door.
It's right down by the way.
Starting to rain in Southern California this morning. Crazy. So anyway, so that's just one practical way where I kind of dive into their prior life insurance experience.
Look up whether they're
there. Okay. And then let me open up here. Open up the chat.
listening.
All right. And mute your microphone if you're talking, please. Mute all. There we go.
There's white charges.
All right. So transitioning to the application. Can everybody, just to make sure, do you see my screen? Yes or no on the chat?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So transitioning to the application. Generally, we all know this. You never want to say, okay, so do you want to start an application? The answer will always be no. Nobody wants to apply or commit to anything They do want to get approved, or just, magically get everything set up instantly so that Johnny will receive that $20,000 when they die, though. So they want the product. They don't want commitment. Okay. So how do you start the application then? Well, it's different for different people. But again, closing, just like rapport building, objection overcoming, it's not done at the end necessarily, but throughout the whole conversation. So listening well, using pauses, silence is critical. You can't jump the gun. You can't spook the horse. Okay. But bottom line, there is that critical moment. We all know there's that critical moment in the conversation where you can make or break the sale. You do have to ask some type of closing question or some type of action-oriented question. So here's kind of, I guess you'd call it more of a direct close. This is a fine close. I mean, I use it if I feel like someone is really tracking with me, they're confident, they have a strong desire. So Doris, if you wanted to check for $20,000 to go to Johnny upon your passing, that would be about $102 a month for the 20,000. So 102 for 20,000. Repeat it back slowly. You don't go too quick. Or 15,000 of coverage would be about $78 per month. So $78 for 15. And then if you just did probably the minimum you would want to do, it'd be about 10,000, and that'd be about $56 per month. Okay. So 20,000 for 102, 15,000 for $78 per month, and 10,000 for $56 per month. Now, Doris, which one would you feel more comfortable with? It's a fine closing question. If they come back with probably the 15,000, then great, you got them. Go right into the application. I mean, that's a commitment. But what I find is a lot of people, they just heard the numbers. Okay, so you've been through everything together. You've overcome those objections, but they just heard their numbers and they need just a little more time to think before they make a decision. Okay, so they instinctively will say, oh, okay, thanks, bye, or okay, I need to think about it. I'll get back with you. Okay, remember, they're professional procrastinators, so they're going to revert to their instincts here. So what do? You have to slowly remind them of the objections you've already overcome together while they're processing the numbers and coming to a decision. Okay. So kind of an alternate approach. I call it circling the airport. That's the visual that comes to mind. So here's the alternate approach. All right, Doris. So if you wanted a check in the amount of $20,000 to go to Johnny when you pass away, the lowest rate in the state would be about $102 a month. And then if you went down to 15,000, which is still good coverage, that would be about $78 per month. And then the lowest you want to go, the 10,000, would be about $56 per month. So like we discussed, ideally you want $15,000 to $20,000 for a burial, and 10,000 at a bare minimum, depending on what your budget is and what your goals are. Okay. And then a brief pause right there. Why a brief pause? Because there is a certain percentage that will jump on it and they'll know exactly what they want. So you don't want to talk more than you need to in that case. So they'll say, yeah, the 15,000, that's it. Let's do it. Not common, but you want to have a brief pause for that reason. And then I do what I circle the airport until they indicate they're ready to land the plane. What do I mean by that? If you're coming into the Denver International Airport and there's a storm coming over the mountains, you have strong crosswinds. So if you're the pilot of the plane and you're trying to land the plane and you have strong crosswinds of objections from the client, what do? Do you still land the plane and take a chance? No, you pull up, you circle around the airport, and you come in for another approach to where the winds are under control. Otherwise, you try to land the plane with the winds, you both crash and die, and they don't have life insurance. So you circle the airport because what's going on in their head right now? They have these mini objections in their mind. So they could be sold on it. They could know they want it with certainty. But now they have these just mini objections that they just need a little tender, loving care to go over again before they really solidly commit. So they could be thinking, well, I don't know what company this is, or I don't have any money right now. I can't do this. I got to get off the phone, or I want to shop around for best rates. It's a good thing to shop. Or I have to talk with someone. Oh, well, this is good, but I don't have time right now. This probably takes 50 minutes. Or, okay, this is great. I want it. Mail me the application. That's what Colonial Penn did for me. So I'm just going to ask them to mail me and then I'll be done. So you don't want them to say those things. You have to get in front of them. So what I'll do immediately after I quote, brief pause, then I'll just address those. Okay. So I'll say, and again, that's day one, immediate coverage with American Amicable. American Amicable is an excellent A-rated company. They've been in business for over 115 years. I help a lot of people with them each week. And again, that would be the best option for you out of every A-rated carrier in the state based on your age and health. Now, as far as getting this coverage in place, it's actually pretty simple. And it usually just takes, 7 to 10 minutes to get the official approval. And that's done by phone. So they don't do paper applications anymore. So you just address that right on. If they think there's paper applications, you just say, of course, they don't do paper applications anymore, and move on. And then once we get the approval, you can certainly start the policy right away if you'd like. But what most people do is schedule the policy to start the following month on the day that they receive their Social Security payment, just to keep it simple. Usually on the first or third of the month, or the second, third, or fourth Wednesday, if you get it on one of those Wednesdays. Now, do you typically get paid on the first or the third? And I love this question. This is a terrific question because it tells you so much based on how they answer. This is an indirect close. So you're not asking them, do you want to do the application? You're not asking them, do you want to buy life insurance? But you are asking them, do you want to buy life insurance? Because their answer to this, now, do you typically get paid on the first or the third? Yeah, if they say, yeah, I get paid on the third, or yes, it'd have to be on the third, then you got them. That's a commitment. Because if they really have some other objection in their mind, they're not going to answer your question. Now, you get paid on the first or the third. Well, what company was this again? Now you can circle the airport again with that. Okay, so you got to repeat. Remember, what you're saying, but the client is not retaining the information. So they're getting a portion is going one in ear, portion is going out the other ear. Okay. So I love this question because it's an direct close. If they say, yeah, I get paid on the first or the third, or yes, it'd have to be on the third, then boom, I go right in the application. Okay, great. Yeah. So we'd schedule it to start on February 3rd. Then that'll work fine. Let me open that up and I'll walk you through it. And what is your date of birth? And then you're set. Complete the application. So I like that phrase, I'll walk you through it. Okay. Because again, these people, they want to be led. They want to have their hand held. They don't know how to do this. So when you say, just to keep it simple, I'll walk you through it. Okay. You're their trusted guide. Okay. Now notice we started the application here. I didn't even get a commitment on what level of coverage they want yet. There's a certain set of people that they just cannot make that decision. So you just start the application, wait until you actually have to enter the amount of coverage they want, and then we're committed at this point. So it's just a matter of fact. So now, did you want to do the 10,000 or the 15,000? 15,000. Okay, 15,000. Good. And what will happen a lot of times, they'll say the lower amount first, and then as you go along, 60 seconds later, they'll say, how much was that 15,000 again? So yeah, the 15,000, that'd be $78. Well, let's just do that. Let's go ahead with the 15,000. Okay. See, so it's because now they're comfortable. They're in the application. They're committed. They just couldn't get themselves to commit. So then they start to think, well, if I'm going to do the 10, I could do the 15. And that's how you get a little bit higher premiums. Nevertheless, after you quote 3 options, after you circle the airport 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, inevitably you will still get, I need to think about it. I need to think about it. So this statement tells us nothing. More time to think about something will not lead to a yes, I want to sign up. So you got to know, you must get to the root concern right now on the phone, or they will never get life insurance. Okay, so it doesn't mean you have to get them to buy right now. That's the goal, but you need to get clarity. Okay, so as Jeff's video yesterday hit that again. Getting clarity equals success. Even if the answer is no, they can't afford it. Now you know you're not going to spend another minute of your life on this person because they're not going to buy. Okay, so getting clarity equals success. So when they say, after all that, we've been through this, Doris, we've been through this whole process together, I've been trying to help you, and you still say, I need to think about it. So your reflex can be, well, what do you need to think about? Or, well, you've been thinking about it for 82 years. What are you waiting for? Okay. So for most people, too confrontational. I've done that many times. I've never heard from those people again. Okay. So you need to get to the root / what they really mean without turning them off. Okay. So getting to the root, getting to the Jeff root, I need to think about it. That could mean a number of things. That could mean I want to shop around. Could mean I can't afford it. Could mean I really do need to talk with my daughter because she handles my finances and I don't want to admit that. It could mean I just don't trust you. They're never going to tell you that. Or it could mean I'm clinically insane. They rarely will tell you that. Although I did have someone tell me I'm medically crazy or something the other week. I'm like, well, thank you for your honesty. So I need to think about it. It doesn't tell you much. So now you've already you've circled the airport. You tried to be gentle. So if you try to counter this, I need to think about it again right away. They're probably not going to open up. Okay. So what I like to do, you need a buffer to alleviate that sales decision pressure again. Okay. And in one sense, it's like you're circling the airport again, only in a different way. So what I'll say, I won't try to counteract it. I'll say, okay, well, yeah, let me give you my direct phone number so you know how to reach me directly. Do you have a pen there with you? And of course they go scrambling. Oh yeah, I got a pen. They're so happy to go get a pen because they've just been let off the hook. Now they don't have to make a decision. Okay, so this process of getting a pen and writing down a 10-digit phone number, of course, could take 6 minutes. It could take 10 minutes, depending on the person. It could take 2 minutes. So they finally get a pen. They write down, oh, that pen didn't write. They get another pen. All the while, what's happening? You're spending quality time with your client on the phone. You're struggling through a problem of getting a pen together. Just like, you build relationships by going on a trip with someone. Are you talking with that person nonstop about substantial issues? No, but you're physically with them. So you're building relationship, building trust just by being there together. So let me write. So here's my number, 951-228. They repeat it back real slow. They're writing it down. And again, my name is Benjamin. Okay, so they write it all down. They got your number down. Now they're at ease. Okay, so now the sales pressure is off again. Now you got another crack at it. Now, Doris, typically when someone says they need to think about it, it's mainly just a matter of affordability. So price aside, is there anything else that you don't like about this policy? Okay, and then hopefully they open up and give you the real reason. Usually it's, I can't afford it. That's usually it. I can't afford it. And if you get them to be honest about that, now you can easily help them. So you can offer them something a little lower that still helps. Well, Doris, what we could do, it's better to have something than nothing when it comes to life insurance. We could lower that down to $8,000. That would just be about $42 per month. That way, when you pass away, Johnny doesn't have a full bill for $15,000. At least $8,000 of that is taken away. And the other thing too, Doris, you can always increase coverage later if your finances change. Okay. So a lot of people don't realize they can add life insurance coverage. So they feel like I got to be committed to one thing or nothing at all. You can increase coverage later. And the other thing too, Doris, you have what's called by law, you have a 30-day free look period. And I'll touch on that in a second, but that relieves the stress of commitment as well. A little more direct, Doris, there's going to be a bill either now in manageable payments or later all at once during the most stressful time of your children's lives. So a little more direct. So focus on the pain, not the price. You don't want to get too caught up in the price. You got to bring it back to the problem that we're solving here. Some other kind of one-liner things you can say I need to think about it. I've found I use them every once in a while. Getting to the root concern. Number one, repeat what they said. I never really thought about this, but well, it sounds good. I need to think about it. And just kind of pause and be like, you need to think about it, or whatever they say, whatever their objection is, just repeat it back to them. Now it's awkward if they don't expand upon it. Well, yeah, I need to talk with my, whatever. Now you get the real concern. It's just a quick way to cut right through it and cause them to talk. Next time we talk, yeah, that's not a problem. Now, just so I know the next time we talk, what specifically are you most concerned about in your mind? Okay, probe deeper. Or polite guilt. Yeah, that's not a problem. Now you mentioned you've been thinking about this for a couple of years, right? So get them to realize and say in their own words again that, yes, I've been procrastinating on this, and see what happens. Okay, so just some other ways you can come back to that I need to think about. And then from David Pebbles or Peebles, who knows how his last name is spelled, the man of mystery. I need to think about it. He shared this before. You certainly can, Dave, but realistically, there's only 3 times in life you think about life insurance. When you get bad news from the doctor and it's too late to get coverage. 2 is when you die and your family's thinking about it, but it's too late. And number 3 is right now. So I think we'd both be more comfortable with getting some coverage in place now to make sure you have this taken care of. Okay, so and you can hear David Pebbles saying that in his voice, shaking his head. Yes. Okay, it's very assumptive. It's a bold move. But yeah, it's another approach you can take. All right, and then I want to shop around. Okay, this is the easiest one to combat logically. Unfortunately, we're not in a logical sale. So yes, absolutely, you definitely want to shop around. Now, the good news is by calling me, you've actually already done it. I know you can't see my computer screen right now, but what I've done for you is take a look at every A-rated carrier in the state and found the best option based on your age and health. So assuming you do have the best coverage and best pricing in the state, which you do, is there anything else you're concerned about? Does that rate fit within your budget, or do you think you may need to lower the coverage a little bit? Okay, so you address it, you overcome it, and then you turn it back on them. Because if they want to shop around, then what they're saying is, I think I can find it lower price someplace. Or they could be saying, I don't trust you or something, but usually it's affordability. So go with affordability and see what they say there. Okay. There's an alternate approach. I guess this is really for the logical person. Usually this goes one in ear and out the other. Yes, you can absolutely shop around. I apologize. I didn't communicate clearly with you. I'm an independent broker. So what I've done on your behalf is to shop around for you already. So you can't see it on my screen here, but I've checked every A-rated carrier that is licensed to operate in the state of Kentucky. I have them listed here in front of me from lowest price to highest price. I just selected the option that number 1 will accept you for immediate coverage. And number 2 has the lowest rate because there's no reason to pay $1 more than you need to for something like this. Does that make sense? Usually that goes one ear out the other, and they'll still say, okay, well, I need to shop around. They didn't hear a word you said. But so I put that in yellow because I don't use that much, but for the super logical person, it could be helpful. How about I need to talk with my family? Okay, so again, you've circled the airport, and it's after all that, I need to talk with my family still. Okay. So if you'll be calling me back, you'll need my direct phone number. Then do you have a pen with you? Okay, go through the whole process, write down the number. Now you have another crack at it here. Now, have you talked about life insurance with your wife before, or will this be the first conversation about it? Oh no, we've talked about it. We've had. And does she think life insurance is a good idea? Well, of course. Yeah, of course she's in agreement of getting life insurance. Well, yeah, but we need to. Well, Doris, what we can do, or this is a wife, so flip it, male, female here. And what you can do is, Jeff, you have what's called a 30-day free look period. So by law, you have what's called a 30-day free look period. So that means we can get you approved now, set the first payment date up to 35 days in the future. And then if for some reason you found a lower rate, or you just wanted to go with another company, you absolutely can. You just give me a 1-minute phone call and tell me to withdraw your original offer. So it's kind of like buying clothes from a store. You take it home, you try it on, and then if for any reason you don't like it, you just take it back to the store, or in this case, you just make a phone call. Does that make sense? That way you have at least something in place for your family, and you don't kick the can down the road on this too long. Okay. So look at that beautiful picture of Costco. Huge Costco fan here. I am more likely to buy clothing from Costco. Do you know why? Because I know I can return it, no questions asked, at any point in time, not even the 30-day period. I can wear it, I can wash it, I can do whatever I want with it and return it and still get my money back. So therefore, if I see something that could fit, could not fit, I'm going to take it. I'm going to buy it. And more often than not, even if it doesn't fit, I end up keeping it. So unfortunately, that our crowd probably doesn't relate to the Costco experience as much, but kind of putting it in those terms about trying on clothes and returning it, sometimes that kind of lowers their guard. Again, take them off guard. And then sometimes I'll go a little further. So I always encourage people, if you know you need this coverage, and if you don't, that's fine. Don't get it. So again, that disarming. So I encourage people, if you need this coverage, and if you don't, don't get it. But if you know you need it, but just aren't sure on the exact amount, then you can just do the smallest amount you know you need for sure, even just 10,000. And then if you double check your finances in the next few days, you can just make a 1-minute phone call to me and say, Benjamin, let's increase that to 15,000 or 20,000. So it's really easy to do that. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And let me open that up here. What's your date of birth? Now you're into the application. Okay. So that's a 30-day free look period. Like I said, need to talk to my family. That's generally, for some reason, that 30-day free look period for me always comes back. It's just a good go-to to give them flexibility. Because again, they're afraid of commitment, afraid of making the wrong decision, afraid of making any decision. So, and same here. I need to talk with my daughter. Now, will your daughter be paying for this policy? Well, no, I'm the payer for the policy. Oh, okay. Just kind of pause. So, why would you have to talk with your daughter about this? Some people think that because their daughter is the beneficiary, they have to talk with them before getting their policy. Well, no, all you need is your name, her name in relationship to you. But anyway, so there's that. Another objection, I guess, is some bonus here. Times it. Yeah, we'll keep going. How long is this going to take? You answer the phone. How long is this going to take? They have no patience. So usually not a good sign, but usually it just takes a few minutes, but we have to figure out, first of all, if we can even help with what you're looking for. What was your main concern? So turn it back on them, make them explain why they're calling me. Okay. It's not my fault how long is this going to take? My job is not to make this quick and easy. You called me for inbounds. Can you just mail me something? Yeah, not a problem. Now it looks like you're calling in from Florida. Is that correct? And then sometimes, ask for their mailing address. Sometimes that puts them at ease. Like, okay, he took my mailing address. He's really going to mail me something. But then you just proceed with the script and ignore that they ever asked for mail and hope they forget about it. A lot of times they will forget about it because they just didn't know you at the start. So they think they just need it by mail. They get to know you, you build trust, and I'm sticking with this guy. Sometimes I won't even ask for the mailing address. I'll just say, yeah, sure. Yeah, we can definitely do that. And then just keep going on. So proceed with the script, build trust, act like they never asked for the mail. But admittedly, that's a rough one. I hate that one. I hate when, can you mail me something? Some people legitimately make decisions that way and they're responsible enough to do it. 99% of people are not, and it's a waste of your time. If they keep pushing, but just mail me something. Doris, the only thing I can mail you is the generic brochure, which just talks about whole life insurance, everything we've already discussed. To be really blunt with you, it's not really helpful for making a decision. Doris, what most people do is get the approval first. And that just takes 7 to 10 minutes. And then we mail you the actual policy to review. You get that in about 2 to 3 business days. Because I mail, if it's SBLI, for instance, I mail it, I get it there quick. The big 30-page policy packet. And then you have what's called a 30-day free look period to review it. And if you have any questions, obviously you just call me directly and I'll walk you through it. But it's pretty straightforward. But the first step is just getting the approval. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's how I approach the persistent, can you mail me? Again, this one is hard to overcome. Sometimes you can do it. It feels really uncomfortable to overcome this one because they're asking you something and you're just essentially ignoring what they're asking you to do. So it's counterintuitive, but it's for their own good in a sense, because if you mail them something, they won't check the mail. They won't read it. They won't remember you. They won't call you back. When you call them, they won't answer their phone. They won't respond to your text messages. So that's a tough one. So, those are kind of the main objections. Let me look at the comments here. Yes, the hot dog and pizza. Hot dog or pizza with a drink under $5 is priceless. JD, absolutely. Timeless value. Okay, salmon clothes from there. Yep, Costco, absolutely. How do you address people who are going to buy a level rate but are declined or qualify for graded? Yeah, so the transitioning from a downgrade or a decline, that's real sensitive, obviously. So usually what I'll do is, well, like yesterday, had a Aetna decline and transition and pivoted to SBLI. It's like, first of all, I really make Aetna. I should never use them again, but I make them really elusive. And I'll say, sometimes Aetna's underwriting is a little goofy. So we'll see if they have any additional questions for us here. And then I get the decline inevitably. So it looks like, stop the share here. So it looks like they would not approve you for immediate coverage. But I'm pretty sure another carrier would be best for you. SBLI should approve you, no problem. So yeah, let me transfer over your information here and we'll see what they have to say. And then you're just frantically, obviously, transferring over information, starting the application, then going through that process, and just kind of playing it off nonchalant and just go right into the next. Don't give them an option. I never use the word decline, never use the word downgrade. I'll say, yeah, it looks like they approved you. So always the good news, it's always good news. It's just not as good of news. So it looks like they approved you, but it's for that coverage with a waiting period. And you don't want that. It's not a good deal. So let's do this. I think I can still get you immediate coverage with this company and then just pivot. Any other questions or thoughts here? Who is your go-to for over 80? No email or text. American Amicable, I guess. Or I mean, in theory, SBLI, you can do the voice signature with SBLI, but you can't do Aetna anymore now that they have to have text. So set there. Okay, one other thing I'll share, if you have questions, put them in there, or if you want to put in topics, because I'll do this now once a month. So if you want other topics to be covered, let me know. I'll plan on that. So put it in the chat. One practical tool, I mentioned this to my agents the other day, fastpeoplesearch.com. I don't know if you use this. This is super helpful, especially when you're talking on the phone with someone and they got their Android phone, which they've thrown on the ground, and it's on the other side of the room underneath a blanket on speakerphone, and you just cannot hear the person. You trying to spell their name, get their address. Just if you have their name and city, put it in there. It'll give you the results, and you'll know their age, so you can kind of narrow it down. As long as it's not a generic name, you'll figure out who it is. And more times than not, that address they give you is accurate, or that they give you at Fast People Search is accurate. So then what they're saying connects with what you put the puzzle pieces together and get clarity without having to ask them over and over again. Can you spell that? Can you spell that? Etc. So that's really helpful. I've used that a lot too. And then they also, it's just a data broker site. So underneath it, they'll list any relatives connected to them. So if they're listing their beneficiary names, oftentimes you'll find the spelling of that name too, just to confirm that you're hearing it correctly. There's nothing worse than spelling something wrong and having to correct it later on.